Hello, everyone. I am Sarah Asanti. I am a creative scripted TV consultant. I've just recently launched my own consultancy called the Asanti Space. It's somewhere for new writers, experienced writers, new producers, and experienced producers to kind of come, get resources, get one to one help on packaging their scripts, packaging their pitches, and just finding out a little bit more from an insider the best way to put their foot forwards to pitch their shows. In the spirit of adolescence, I've decided to try and record this in one go, partly because I don't know how to edit, but partly because it's a challenge, right? It's nice to be challenged. So there will be some fluffs of my lines, there will be the sound of my air conditioning tower, there will be a little bit of traffic noise because I forgot to close the window before I hit record. But I just wanted to hop on here to do a couple of things, introduce myself, introduce the fact that I have a consultancy, let you know that there is a webinar coming up. It's something that I think will be suitable for newer writers and producers, as well as mid level and somewhat experienced writers and producers. I want to help kind of demystify a lot of what is needed before you end up in front of a producer or end up in front of a commissioner to pitch your show and try and get some money to fund your script and fund your project. So hopefully the webinar that we're doing will address a lot of the questions that I've seen coming my way ever since the agency launched. There have been some brilliant questions, and we're gathering them all up in a 1 minute questionnaire, which I will leave a link to at the bottom of here for you to go in, engage with. And at the bottom, there's a free text box where you can just ask me anything. What's your burning question? What's your biggest frustration? If a commissioner was in front of you, what would you ask them? What is it about your project that you haven't taken forward yet, and how can we help? So I'll leave a link to that questionnaire at the bottom. But yeah, I thought I'd hop on here and just kind of give you a little bit of value just as a hello gift. I've put together a top 5 things to help writers break into film and TV. So I'm just going to pop my glasses on so I can read them better. Um, and this is the list that I've come up with. So the number one bit of advice I would give to writers is you have to write. Write, write, write. Make it original, make it in your own voice, but you have to get your writing down. You can't break in without a script as your calling card. We need to hear your voice to see if you can weave in tension, if it's a drama, to get a sense of your humor, if it's a comedy. Um, and it kind of takes the pressure off yourself, actually, if you can see it as a tool that could help you book a job or it could help you find an agent, rather than trying to tout something that you're trying to get made. Obviously, the ideal goal is to get all of your writing made, but sometimes your writing can just be a door opener, and you've got to take the pressure off yourself by being okay with that. Not everything's going to hit the ground running for you, but at least your voice is out there, at least your work is out there, and at least the feedback that you're getting back from putting your work out there means that you can tinker and you can hone and you can improve. Because as you know, we all know, all writing is rewriting. When you type the end, it is absolutely not the end. As soon as you hand it off to a director, there'll be notes. You give it to your agent, there'll be notes. You give it to actors, there'll be notes. So it's never the end, it's always the beginning. It's collaborative. So get your work on paper, on screen, and get it out there. Get those notes in and tinker and adjust accordingly. So that's my first tip. Have at least 3 or 4 original pieces, maybe one full length screenplay if it's for a film, or a TV pilot if it's for TV, and maybe the outlines of your other 3 or 4 ideas, but make sure they're all original. It's okay to use soaps or other films as practice, doing specs for things that already exist as practice, but it's your original work that the industry is looking for. So make sure that what you submit and what you go around with is 100% yours. My second bit of advice is try and find a way to stand out. Open, enter competitions and writers' initiatives. I think nearly every broadcaster has some kind of writers' initiative that they advertise on their websites. A lot of people don't realize that broadcasters have a commissioning page on their website where they talk about what they're looking for. But to the side of that, they often have and by the way, if you're newer or if you don't have as many credits, we're also offering these things. I think you should try and go on every broadcaster's website and try and engage with all of the competitions and schemes that are available. They're brilliant way. It's a brilliant way of you getting your name in rooms. I've come across writers who've entered the Channel 4 thing, finished that after a few months, and then gone on to the BBC thing and finished that. And basically, that just means that two broadcasters have their name on a piece of paper. Two broadcasters have been inviting people in to give that individual masterclasses while they were on those initiatives. So that writer is growing and learning from some of the best in the biz, but their name is also on the lips of people in the building. So when it comes time for them to hand over the thing that they were working on during the initiative or hand over the thing that they've been passionate about for years, they won't be as much of a stranger. They'll have been vetted. Going onto competitions and schemes and getting onto them is a really nice way of getting a layer of scrutiny out of the way. It's just like if a recruitment consultant puts your CV in front of someone rather than you cold emailing as a stranger out of nowhere, because of that sifting process, because that agent has gone through and picked the best of the best, or the creme de la creme, or the ones that need the most help, whatever the criteria may be. Because that layer of sifting has happened, you being on that pile of the long list or the short list to be considered just stands you in good stead. So that's my second tip. Try and stand out, enter the competitions, enter the schemes. You never know where it can get you, and there's no loss in it. One resource I will say, apart from Google, of course, is to go on the BBC's writers' room. The BBC being a public service broadcaster, it means that they have to share information on everything that's available in the biz. Yes, of course, they'll publish about what they're doing, but there will be some pointers towards other things going on around the nation. It's not all London centric, it's not all Southeast centric. There will be shout outs for Scottish competitions, shout out for Wales, shout outs for Ireland. So go on the BBC Writers' Room and just have a little rummage around at all the resources on there and find out what's coming up. Get yourself a calendar, work out what's coming up soon that you could enter, work out what you've missed so that you're ready for next year's entry dates and deadlines, and just get cracking from there. Stand out from the crowd as much as you can. My third bit of advice is get yourself a little bit of industry landscape knowledge. Have a bit of a clue, do some research and find out a little bit more about where writers get their breaks. You'll be surprised at how many people have come through children's TV. You'll be surprised at how many people have come through from radio, from theatre. They've come from film to do telly. They've gone from telly to do films, that sort of thing. Have a think about all the people you admire, all the writers you admire, and have a little bit of a deep dive into their journeys and see if there's anything in their past that could apply to you. If they did an adaptation of their one brilliant idea and started off on stage and ended up on screen, maybe that's a route that you can take. Seeing as you're watching this on Substack, I actually have recently written an article about the journey of two brilliant stage to screen projects. One was a little show called Chewing Gum, and one was a little show called Fleabag. Um, I kind of describe a little bit about how long it took and the different hops that those projects took before they ended up where they ended up as, household beloved projects, and those writers being catapulted to becoming household names. So I would check out that article, but I would really make it your job and your homework to get to know the industry landscape a little bit. Watch the shows, learn the formats, be ready to maybe write a shadow script just for practice. And that will give you a chance to demonstrate that you can write to brief. But knowing the journeys of the people you admire is really, really important, and understanding there's multiple ways to skin a cat. And it's all about the journey. It's rarely about the destination. So really get yourself familiar with all the different ways in, find the one that's the most comfortable for you and try it out. No one's watching. There's no wrong or right way of starting out. So just get cracking with it. My fourth bit of advice is, I think, to build a network and a portfolio. And I say network, but I mean networking, which is gross and cringe. You hate it, I hate it, we all hate it, but the industry is freaking, it runs on it. So you just have to lean in. You just got to bite down and lean the feck in. Um, Lots of writers are introverts. I get it. It's a solitary pursuit. It's something that you can do in your bedroom. You can go days without talking to anyone. And for some people, that is absolute bliss. But at some point, that writing has to get out into the world. Via a competition, you get to hide behind the screen to send it out. But no one sells your work better than you do. Getting out and going to networking events is just crucial. The number one cry in our industry is, it's so tough because I don't know anyone. One of the ways you get to know people is to be in rooms with people. My advice: find the other person that's cringing in a corner, can't believe they're there, probably had some well meaning bully like me convince them to go. Go and stand next to that person, ask them what their favorite show is, slag off a show that you've just hated recently. Just ice break in whatever way you can. Get talking to at least one person in the room. Try and aim to leave there with one new name, one hello, one business card, one link to LinkedIn. Whatever it is, there's absolutely zero loss in walking in a room, making eye contact with the one person who's hating it as much as you are, going over to them and saying, "How gross is this?" And then just taking it from there. The other nice thing about the previous points I gave you is, you actually do have stuff to talk about when you go into those rooms. You've got your show to talk about. You've got a competition you entered to talk about. You've got a did you know blah blah started off in children's TV to talk about. It gives you so many different icebreakers to take my advice and try and implement them in the worst way possible, which is at a networking event. The other cool thing about networking is, you might meet someone or catch wind of something in the room that you never would have thought of. Someone might talk about a script writing retreat or an initiative, or there's a read through that's happening and they've got their actors, but they don't have enough scripts. All of these things can happen in rooms before they're put on a website, put on Twitter, put on social media for a wider call out. So being in that room really helps you have your ear to the ground on what is possible and what is coming down the line. And I think you're a lot more memorable as that person that found this event equally cringe. Let me drop him a line and see if he wants to join in with this writing thing that I've got coming up, than an anonymous name behind an anonymous email who's just sent a, hey, let me know if there's anything coming up. You're far more memorable in person. So go to the things, sign up to the things, try and just do one a month. Don't put yourself to, you have to get out of your comfort zone, but don't put yourself out. So once a month, see what's happening, stay on the forum, stay on the newsletters, sign up to Eventbrite. Even I've gone to so many brilliant events and screenings because of Eventbrite. God love them. Turn up, see who you can get talking to, see if someone says something interesting, and then vow to follow them on Twitter, vow to follow them on LinkedIn, and just feel like you're a little bit part of the community. So yeah, networking is gross, but you got to lean into it. Last but not least, is stay informed. So this is kind of an extension of my networking advice, which is about learning and keeping on top of the TV landscape. There's so much information sloshing about, and you'll be absolutely shocked at how many, not just new, but experienced people don't know what's going on in the biz or how to get their hands on industry news, or just don't have the time. They don't carve out the time to read and find out about what's going on. So I subscribe to pretty much all the newsletters. So there's the industry, Drama Quarterly. I read Deadline. I read Hollywood Reporter. I also look at broadcast regularly. Broadcast, of course, is our industry main industry trade magazine, but broadcast is expensive. For the most part, it's film and TV companies that buy their staff the subscription to broadcast because it is quite pricey. The information in there is valuable and therefore they price accordingly. But the one tip I do give people, because I think for most magazines, reach is as important as circulation. So the advice that I give to people that don't want to fork out or shouldn't fork out for the magazine, especially if they're kind of starting out or freelance, is to try and get your hands on a copy for free. So whether that is next time you're at a production company, post-production company, in their reception they often have old copies of broadcast sitting on the table. So when you're waiting for a meeting, turn up to a meeting 20 minutes early, and hopefully there's a copy of broadcast sitting there that you can have a little thumb through. My other bit of advice is Selfridges, if you're London based, of course, is Selfridges. In their basement is the book department, and at the back of the book department is a magazine department. They carry lots of international magazines, the thick, expensive magazines. And one of the magazines that they carry in there, two of the magazines actually, Screen Daily, which is great for the film industry, and Broadcast, which is great for TV. Um, Grab yourself a copy, stand to the side, don't have grubby hands, and just go through it. Just read, 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 read. If there's an article in there that catches your eye that you think, oh God, I wish I had more time with this, this is exactly what I was looking for, please don't rip the page out. Whip your phone out and take a photo of it so that you can go home, zoom in, and read it in more detail at your leisure. But I think for the most part, there's always people standing around flicking through, sort of try before they buy. So the staff at Selfridges aren't going to move you on as long as you're not there for like half an hour taking a piss. But I think in 15 minutes, you can pretty much thumb through all the pertinent parts, get a general gist of, oh, that's being made. Oh, that's gotten cancelled. Oh, she's turning up in a thing. Get the general gist, take a photo if there's an article you want a deeper dive in, and then get the hell out of there. That same trick works in, I think it's Waterstones now. It used to be Barnes and Noble on Charing Cross Road, so I'm showing my age, but they've closed now. But I think Waterstones, especially the one on Piccadilly near BAFTA, they have a magazine department, or they did last time I went in there. And weirdly, the magazine department is near the coffee bit, so you actually can grab a magazine and sit down and thumb through it. So same trick, grab the magazine, find a corner, read, read, read. If there's something that catches your eye, take a picture of it for later. But those are a couple of ways to get your hands on something like a broadcast, a Screen Daily, Hollywood Reporter, and those types of expensive magazines for free. But Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, Screen Daily also do newsletters, so they're worth signing up for. So yeah, staying informed, knowing what's happening on the in the general TV film space, knowing what's on the horizon, knowing what's coming up. It's just important, and it helps you feel part of the community. It kind of gives you conversation starters and helps you feel like you're not sort of, just tinkering in the dark, sort of discombobulated from the wider path. You might see things on there that you're like, oh, damn it, that's just like my idea. Don't take that as, oh no, I'm too small and it's too late. Take that as, okay, I'm barking up the right tree. I had that idea. Someone else has done it slightly differently. They've cast it with someone I wouldn't have thought of. It's been picked up by that broadcaster. I wasn't even thinking of them. I thought it'd be more of a Netflix thing than a BBC thing, but fair enough. It's useful to know that the things you're interested in, the things that you're obsessed in about, and the things that you're developing in your head are having conversations outside. That means you know your stuff. You're circling the right drain. You are barking up that right tree. So don't ever take that as a, oh, kick myself. wish I'd gotten in there first, because now you're dismissing the years of relationship, the years of development, all of those steps that have taken place for that thing to have gotten forward before you got your chance to pitch it. So don't kick yourself too much. Never ever internalize rejection, or when you get feedback that sounds like we've already got one, it sounds similar to something that's already been done and things like that. It's fine. It just means that you're barking up the right tree, but you just need to get your ducks in a row sooner, or you need to share your work sooner. Maybe you were holding on to it for too long. So start those conversations early. Please don't be worried about, oh, I can't, they might nick my idea, I'm not going to send it around, they might nick my idea. Watermark it, send it. Go to a meeting, let them read it in front of you. Whatever your comfort zone allows, do that. But please do not sit on your idea. Do not sit on your writing. You've got to share it widely, share it often, and get conversations going about you. You'll be so surprised that that cringe networking thing and that very competitive competition that I didn't have a lot of faith in, and that horrible meeting where they shot down all my ideas, those are three different spaces that your face and your name was in. And you just never know who was in that space thinking, I like that person. I like their voice. I liked how humorous they made that topic. Their idea wasn't that great, but I just like them. We should get them on this. We should do a writer's room and get some different brains in the room. What about that girl from that thing? What about that guy that we met that day? That's what you're going for. You're going for sprinkling the seeds of the idea of you everywhere you go. And I highly recommend that you do that as often as possible. It builds your confidence and it builds your chances of getting something across the line. So that's it. That's my top 5 tips for writers of film and TV. Let me know in the comments below if it resonated in any way, if it was in any way helpful, or if you felt like, oh my God, Sarah, that was so fucking GCSE. Like, are you a teacher? Let me know, because that's the thing. I want to talk to as many people as possible. I don't want to condescend to people that know their stuff, but I also don't want to gloss over things to people that don't know anything. Common sense is not common. What's easy peasy for us and what jargon we've been using for years and what statuses we've been used to for years won't be the same for everyone. So I'm trying to be as broad in my reach as possible. So I'd love you to engage with this recording below. I'll also paste down the questionnaire that we're launching ahead of the web series. We actually had a platform ready to record the web series on, but because I've had so many people sign up for it in advance for the waiting list, we need something with bigger capacity. So we're in the process of looking for a home for the web series that has a big enough capacity so that you can all jump in when the launch date is released and not be thrown out or suffer any technical issues. I'd absolutely hate it if the sound or the vision was really, really shit when we get round to giving you all of my gems. So yeah, look out for that. Engage with the website, check out the Substack, be part of the conversation, and hopefully, now that I'm feeling comfortable and confident about my podcasting era, I think I'm going to start having conversations about TV with people that I know and respect and admire. And hopefully, those conversations will have a lot of take home value for you. And I'll be posting them here as well, because lovely Substack, they've built this video to screen thing so I can basically call myself a podcaster without having to book a studio or learn to edit. How great is that for me? So thank you. Thank you so much for listening. Look at me. I did it in one take. I'm not editing any of it out. And hopefully, if you are a producer who needs help with your slate, if you're a writer who needs help with your script, the doctor is in. I will help you package and make sure that you are sounding your best, your story is as clear as it needs to be, and that commissioning and funding that you've been seeking for so long just feels one step closer. That's my job. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help. Come and holler at me. Thanks, guys. See you soon.